till now.
Alhamdulillah. All good until now.
Well, we were on chapter one of people and organizations, and we were done discussing these things. We discussed, the communication
The
practices, what is
communication.
effective communication, and what is simple communication. Would you explain to me, if you recall from the last class, what was the difference between
Oh
the
God,
simple
I do not
communication?
bring my notes.
That's okay, I guess. But still, do you
But
recall anything?
let me the verbal and the non-verbal communications.
Mm-hmm.
And verbal, the probably involve the effective communications.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, wait, my brain is effective communications. It involves the
Mm-hmm.
body gestures, the
Yeah,
even the tonation, how it would
right.
delivered.
In
Music.
like short, simple communication is concise, like just let you know the word communication is concise. We don't talk about much about it. It's just that in talking and that side. But effective communication prioritizes clarity of information, understanding of the information, and achieving the intended person. If I'm trying to make you understand something, my purpose is only achieved, and this is only called effective communication if you understand and perceive my meaning. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's that. We talked about the effective communication benefits. Okay,
Mm-mm.
this was just
Yeah,
a
the
sender,
presentations.
message, receiver, interpretation, what is actually communication. And
Mm.
then what is effective communication, two-way street.
Effective.
Yeah, then these are the benefits. If your communication is effective, that means there is a timely disperse of information and all, and why it hasn't gone. Okay. There's efficiency, you make good relationships, you make effective teams, it's a high
Morale.
morale, the tone is clear, the message is clear. If you use the right words also, customer and supplier relationships, if it's timely, obviously you'll have good relationships, be it a customer supplier, be it a superior and subordinate. And then communication mitigates conflict. Whenever there are conflicts rise because of lack of communication, because of misunderstandings,
Yeah.
and they are resolved only because of that. And then essential communication skills for career. You need to be confident. You should know how to inculcate and how to give feedback as well. Then there's non-verbal communication. We discussed all of this. Now was a point where were supposed to discuss policies and procedures that are used to enhance communication within organization. Have we discussed that? Email, staff briefings. Do you
No, we
recall?
did not tackle this one.
Right. Okay. You
I think this
feel
was
like
supposed. This was the topic. This is the topic supposed to be when I
right.
don't. When I cannot enter.
Okay. So we'll start from here. Now, policies and procedures, by that we mean what are the ways we use in order to enhance communication. Now, when
Mm.
it comes to communication, and since we are talking about organizations, this is people in organizations, this would be about organizations, right? So when you're
Yeah.
in an office setting or in a professional setting, you do know that when a message is dispersed, or when a decision is made, the CEO or someone who is higher in position, someone who has authority, someone who has a decision making power, he does not take that message and go to every single individual from top to the bottom level and informs him or her about the decision which has been made, right? It's not possible.
Yeah.
He can't be
Yeah.
doing this, or not, he can't even employ someone to do that. At least nowadays this is not what happens. Maybe in the past years it was a practice where someone was responsible for informing everyone, for keeping people informed also, but this is not how it happens today. Today we use different
Yeah.
things such as email, and it's not now this is not a new practice. This has been in practice since ages. The times that I'm talking about, those were the times when we had nothing, no computers, nothing, maybe centuries ago. This is email.
Yeah.
We started using email way before, right? Then staff briefings are when someone is, he or she or someone who is an authority He briefs the staff about what is to be done. That is usually what happens when that is something that happens when we have a plan in place and we have to execute it. Then you tell everyone, okay, these are the goals, these are the things that we want to achieve out of this, and this is what you all are supposed to do. Usually happens in a meeting room or around a table, etc. Then we have newsletters, posters, bullets, email, group notice boards. Notice boards are still in use. Not in. I don't see them much. I do though. I do. There are notice boards, but those notice boards are not usually used um for um for informing people. Those may be filled with ads or brochures or something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Then we
Yeah.
do have emails, we have groups. WhatsApp groups are now like WhatsApp is being used for everything. Now you may also
Mhm.
have seen how WhatsApp has launched its application for Windows as well, where you can share your screens and you can also share your videos as well, video screens. I mean that used to happen in phones also, but there's an application for PC as well. I haven't checked it out as of now, but I still log in via PC through that WhatsApp web. But we do now have an application for that. But WhatsApp is now progressing. It is kind of like taking
Mm.
all the features. It allows you to share your screen. It allows multiple callers to be on the same in the same call. And what else, you can share your screen. Now it also allows video messages. So there are a lot of things. It allows communities. So there are a lot of things that it's been doing, and I feel like WhatsApp may be taking place of it's already taking place of a Zoom, and taking that market share from them. Then we have regular meetings, and obviously they happen when you have to share a report with your staff. Staff briefings is also something similar to regular meetings. When it happens, when I don't know whether you have seen that meme or not. I think I may have mentioned that earlier also in the last class, and I told you that there's this meme going on in the I saw that on Instagram, where there was this person who says ki meetings are they're just a waste of time. You start your day with a meeting, talking about
Right.
what is it that we have to do. You discuss the agenda and all, and then you also have a meeting at 11 p.m. where you say, okay, we haven't done this, and we'll do this in the next we'll discuss this in the next meeting. So these are all just time taking things. Anyways, that was just a
Big
meme.
time.
Now this is cascade, when you divide your organization's overall strategy throughout your different departments. Now what divide your organization's overall strategy means, you break it down and then you talk about it, or then you divide the work um among different departments. For example, my overall strategy is to increase my profit by 3% in the next 5 years, or increase my revenue by 3%, 5%, or etc percentage in the next 5 years. So what is it that the finance department is supposed to do? Then what is it that the marketing department is supposed to do? What is it that the manufacturing department is supposed to do?
Very true.
Yeah, so that is cascade. So we were on cascade, when you divide your organization's overall strategy. So again, it's I was just confirming it. It refers to the process of relaying information or messages from one person or level of an organization to another in a sequential or in a hierarchical manner. As you can go from department to department, you just disperse the relevant information to the relevant department. If it's something related to the finance department of the overall strategy, then you tell it to the finance department. Or you can go from hierarchy. You can tell to the supervisor, to the middle line managers first, and go to the frontline managers, etc. It also involves transmitting information downward through various levels or individuals. You often start from higher ups or leaders and then move toward the lower levels or team members, as I said earlier, from the CEO to like the maybe vice presidents or presidents, and then downwards. Now, what is the purpose of this cascading? It is to cascade the information. Sorry, what?
Okay.
The purpose of cascading information is to ensure that important messages or the updates or the instructions or whatsoever, everything which is important are effectively disseminated or dispersed throughout the organization. And we do this in order to maintain or to promote consistency and alignment in understanding and action. Why? What is, the alignment between understanding and action is, is done now. This is done in order to make sure that every department, that all of us first of all are on the same page, and then we all are working towards achieving that goal. That is how, if we talk about, if we say that middle line managers are supposed to do this, not exactly managers are supposed to hold onto their departments. They are supposed to, look over their teams. But if a team is supposed to do certain tasks, and if that overall strategy or overall goal involves something which is to be achieved by that team, or a part of it is achieved, is supposed to achieve to be achieved by that team, then it is to be disseminated to that team in order to maintain consistency. Then policies, for example, dealing with the media confidentiality. We do have confidentiality acts. We're going to study that also, moving on onwards. But we do have policies in place in order to, how are we gonna communicate our messages, how are we gonna deal with the people, because an organization is not just something which has its employees and which has to deal with the employees only, but it's something that has to deal with the everything that can everyone that concerns it. There are shareholders, there are stakeholders, there are customers, there are suppliers. So there are a lot of people which are involved with an organization. So here we have talked since now about how to manage employees, what will we be doing to manage employees, how are we going to disseminate information to the employees. But here, there is this word which is called media, and then confidentiality, that is here because
Yeah.
Customers and your competitors and your people who are related to you, from outside of the organization, who make your organization and for who you are working, they're also very important. You need to have policies and procedures in place in order to deal with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Limitations for the exposures of
Yeah, exactly.
media.
Exactly. Then sending emails to employees, it's repetition here. Putting information on your company site. We do have company websites. We do have blogs. We do have now, companies are also available on social media networks such as LinkedIn. So you can also check the information from there. They also put out now, LinkedIn is a job market. So we do see, a JD, job position openings every now and then there, and from there you can also check whether the company is, you can also validate that information whether the company is real or not. Sharing the policies on your internal social media platforms, as I said earlier. Posting updated policies on company, including policies in any staff handbooks. Posted updated policies on company, including, right. So we also have handbooks about companies where they are involved in information. Now, apart from that, we do have, on internet, they do, a lot of companies, big companies, have their financial statements there. Now we do have like handbooks also that has information about the company, about maybe the locations, maybe the staff, maybe its achievements, what has the company been doing in the past, which helps the employers or the stakeholders or the customers to make important decisions regarding the company, which can benefit the company in the longer run. So all of this is done. These are all the things. Now, not exactly everything is being employed, but I think we do employ everything. We do have, again, website. Every company uses email. There are staff briefings, there are news letters, there are posters, there are regular meetings. Cascading is also something which has been done regularly. It's just a term that we're studying here. Then we do have policies to deal with the media, to deal with the customers if something goes wrong. What are the contingency plans regarding to communication? Then we have email system. Then again, company websites are always there. Those companies who do not have a website, they're often under doubt, in the eyes of everyone. Then there are staff handbooks also, and there are others as well. It's not like we are not bound to study just these. There are 1,000 other communication policies or the procedures that are being in use, that are being used by the companies. Why is it again not moving? Okay. We did study this communication vehicle, right?
No.
Okay. So communication.
I didn't know.
Oh, okay. So communication vehicle is something that has these three important elements here. This is time, there is timing, there is location, and there is a message. So can you think of something? How are these three relevant, and why is it that we are studying it in communication vehicle?
Timing is the accurate time of the communication. Timing to information may be inputted such as emergency situation.
Right. So we do know
Like,
that choosing
oh
choosing the
gosh.
right communication vehicle, you know, now these are the three very important elements. We choose the things that are that comes under them very wisely in order to make sure that whatever we are communicating is being communicated effectively. So choosing the right communication vehicle depends on the nature of the message, right? We have studied that. What
Diba?
audience, I mean, what is the location, are as stated here, employees. Location may affect the selection. um if you're doing it for employees and has to be in your office, obviously, or if it's if the, it also, they're all very interconnected. If you want to announce
Yeah, it,
if you want to make a celebration, that then you cannot do it in a meeting room, can you? There has to be
yeah.
a semi formal environment for that also. And
Like for sending invitation for a meeting. So you have to be
exactly.
specific the timing, the locations, and what is the agenda.
Exactly. So then we have timing. Timing is also very imperative in emergency situations. For example, when should the message be disseminated? What is the right time? And everything has a right time. If you do it,
Mm-mm. Meeting
early.
at 12 midnight.
Exactly. This is also not a right time to be doing educational sessions, but let's not focus on that. So, anyways, location message, that's pretty much easier. I'm gonna just read through these. The timing of the information may be imperative, such as in emergency situations. For example, there are disasters, or there's a disaster, or what do we say, a company has to take immediate decisions, and they are supposed to inform all the employees. Then location, employees, and AMP, APOS location may affect the selection. Are all employees in one building at multiple sites or situated globally? Do they work virtually? If there's virtual, what are they going to do? Which channel are they going to use in order to disseminate the message? Another issue that affects the decision is the sensitivity of the information. For layoff or termination information, most professionals agree that face-to-face meetings trump any other means of communication, but some issues may take these meetings impossible due to geographical location of the employees, the number of employees affected, and other factors. Now, here they've mentioned an example of, for example, you have to terminate someone, fire someone, or there's a layoff going on. So what you do is you do that in a that's the more appropriate, the better approach would be to have a face-to-face meeting to explain to the employee, or to have a
Yeah.
discussion on that. Not just, okay, this is your termination letter, do not show your face again. You can't do this, right? So here also, but that also depends on whether your company is being virtually handled, or being, where it's a company where you're allowing remote work also. And is it globally spread, or is it in one location? Do employees come to the office, or do they handle from the work from their come from the comforts of their homes, or wherever they are? So all of this depends, and this has to be taken in consideration. This vehicle is being is something which makes it easier to understand what are the things that we need to consider while communicating a message. Then outline legislation relevant to communication within organizations. Legislation, what are the rules, what are the regulations. So a set of laws put in place by the government to protect businesses, employees, and consumers. Why is legislation important in the workplace? Designed to ensure fairness at work. Now, this is obviously answered here, but to go in depth, obviously, legislation is important. Why are rules important? So that everyone is dealt on an unfair basis, right? So that no one gets an upper hand, no one um, falls victim to biasness or unfair practices at work. We do have so many laws, equal opportunity equal on, what is that, employee opportunity, wait, what is that law called? We're gonna study that also. Right, it's equal employment law, or we call it employment discrimination law. That is to make sure that, there are no unfair practices at work. Everyone will be dealt on the same basis, fair basis. And that is very important also. We do look for equal opportunity laws in order to make sure that the company is not hiring based on the background, based on the unfair practices. Like there's no what is that called? They are not being selected on the basis of their
Discrimination.
color, yes, color, creed, discrimination.
Discrimination.
Exactly, all of that. So these are all the legislations that we gonna be studying. Okay, again, not bound to these. There are more others also, but these are the important ones, or mostly these are in practice. So here is number one, which is called Data Protection Act. As the name suggests, obviously, it was something which was a now this law was passed again in 1998 in the United Kingdom, that governed the processing and protection of personal data. Then the key provisions included that it was established in order for the fair and lawful processing of personal data, including requirement of data accuracy, purpose limitation. We won't be going into detail, but again, that is important, because when you ask employees for their information, or when customers are there, so you do take some sort of information from the customers as well, right? So data protection means you won't be using those for unfair means, or for criminal causes. For example, you want to be blackmailing them. There are sometimes, especially when it comes to hospitals, so sensitive information is being shared with the doctors as well, right? So and that information could be used for you know uh, um, for blackmailing purposes and for other purposes as well. So yeah, that is there in order to protect that. Then we have this also Electronic Communication Privacy Act. Also, that is, as the words show, it's nothing too complicated, but I'm not gonna go in details. It was a law that was created in 1986, and this was designed to govern the privacy of electronic communications and related data. It has been amended several times over the years. Now, why? Because it regulated or it still regulates the interception of wire, oral, or electronic communications. It generally requires law enforcement to obtain a warrant before intercepting or assessing the content of electronic communications. And it was enacted at a time when electronic communications were in their infancy. When electronic communication system it emerged, so that is when it was enacted, and it has obviously faced a lot of criticism also, but still it's it is there in order to align and in order to keep up with the digital age, and in order to enhance protections for individuals' electronic communications and data privacy. Because I think these are the days, but it started way earlier, where we do everything on internet, using virtual platforms, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So there are a lot of applications that we are using now. We are kind of like living in a virtual world, so it's important to have laws in place in order to protect that also, because again, everything could be used in a negative way as well. Now, Freedom of Information Act. Freedom of information, what could be that? Can you guess?
Pardon? Freedom of Information Act?
Yeah.
I was reading on it. And it's already composed. Oh,
You were reading what?
media.
Sorry. Media?
Media.
Mm-hmm. Why can't I? whenever it's
Freedom
okay.
of information. You would ask me what the Freedom of
Yes,
Information
yes,
Act.
yes, yes. Mhm.
For me, it's the public authorities like newspapers and act.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
To, but it also has not na this is an act that give also not give all the access to her personal access
Yes, yes,
to
exactly. So
personal
it
data.
it means that the data which is to be now there are public entities also. They are supposed now public entities are obviously government entities which are run by the government, right? So they are supposed to share information with the public because again, government is supposed to be where there are systems. For example, we have a democratic system in Pakistan where everything is done by the people for the people, and done for the people by the people. What is this thing called? So
Yeah,
it's
so
about the public,
it's
right?
morely all the people so that
Yeah.
there's nothing for them to hide.
Yeah, so it's done by the people, for the people, and the people. So that is a democratic system, right? So whenever there are public entities involved, for example, we have another system. We have so many. We have PIA in Pakistan, which is now which maybe not sure, which is still under the this conflict of like privatizing it because it's a government entity. So they are supposed
Mhm.
to share important information, not too critical. If it's sensitive for the organization, then they cannot, but they are supposed to share it with the as you said, public authorities, the newspapers, the national TV television, whatever the national television of that country is, or the newspaper of that countries, they are supposed to do it, right? So this is the freedom of information that the company can share, has to share information, but if it's sensitive, it's something which is gonna put their reputation, or which can harm their reputation, then they have the authority or the freedom to not share it. Then we have equal employment opportunity, which is also what I have already discussed with you, that there shouldn't be any bias practices. It's a principle that everyone has equal way to pursue a job that is based on merit, regardless of characteristics such as race, such as creed, such as color, or sexual orientation. Now,
Mhm.
this law makes it illegally possible for employers to discriminate under certain features, and every company nowadays shouts and screams that okay, we do, we have equal employment opportunity in place, and whatnot. You do, you see it. I do. Um, in LinkedIn, under every company, at the bottom of every company's description, description that okay, you know what, we do have this in place, equal employment opportunity. We don't see the color, we don't see the race, we don't see the creed and all of that. And then confidentiality is like the state of keeping being kept secret or private. There are, if there is some confidential, all of these are again. If you notice the common thing among all of this is about the communication. These are the laws that are related to communication. These are to be kept in mind, or these are to be considered whenever a piece of information is being shared. So you have to make sure that whatever you are sharing, whatever information is there, with whom you are sharing, it should be aligned, or it should be following all the laws if that company has all these laws in place, right? It cannot go out of your line. You cannot play below the belt, uh, because information is something which could be used to achieve success, and is something which could be used to destroy something or someone. So we have to make sure that things do not go south pole. Now, every evaluate how the organizational structure impacts on the communication methods used. We're gonna talk about the organizational structure first, and then you would understand why are we saying how organizational structure impacts communication, because a structure is formed based on organization structure, especially formed based on how are you going to communicate, who is going to report to whom. Does this make sense?
Mm.
Previously it was mentioned that we have to talk about organizational structure and how it impacts the communication method. So once we're gonna we will discuss the organizational structure. Different types of organizational structures are there around the world, which are deployed by organizations. There's horizontal, there's vertical, there's metrics, and there are like so much more. So when you study those, you would know how do they directly impact communication system and communication method, because organizational structures are defined or classified on the basis of how you are supposed to carry out, or how you carry out that particular communication method. Who is, because communication method, by communication method here we mean who will be reporting to whom. Does that make sense?
Yes.
How many employees are going to report to one manager, or how many managers will be
Yes.
reporting to the CEO? How much time do we need to, that also depends on your decision of organizational structure. Also involves the time element, which is very important. Organizational structure, a formal outline of a company structure makes it easier to add new positions in the company, as well as providing a flexible, ready means for growth. And ready means for growth. Obviously, you outline the entire hierarchical structure. How many employees do you need? For what do you need? For what purpose do you need? How many departments do you need? Who will be working on which level? You divide it on basis of levels or hierarchy, or etc. etc. And impact of organizational structure improves operational efficiency by providing clarity to employees at all levels of a company. Clarity regarding who is going to report to whom, who will be leading whom, how many teams do we need, who will be reporting the finance team, so who will be leading the finance team. And yes, so organization structures, these are the things that are, these are the types of structures that we'll be studying here. Again, not limited to these, there are others also, but we'll be just discussing the common ones. Flat versus tall, metrics, regional, remote offices, dotted line, reporting. So flat versus tall organizations, as you can see here, the example, in the tall organizations, we have more levels of hierarchy involved, right? There are more levels. But in flat organizational structure, there are not so many levels. It's just horizontally spread,
Flat.
right? There are more departments here, but in tall, there are more levels. So, okay, less than 1 minute is left. There's also example here, tall organization, flat organization. In tall organization, you see there are levels, there are so many levels that we will be discussing the benefits and disadvantages of these structures. Flat organization has more people involved in different levels, but it's more horizontally spread. So what is the, we talked about the difference. One is horizontally larger, and the other one is vertically expanded. What are the benefits? And I'd say talk about, first we were talking about tall organizational structure. It's again, it is characterized by multiple hierarchical levels, and a narrow span of control has both benefits and disadvantages. Now, why do we say narrow span of control or communication? Because if you see at the tall organization structure here, one person is first of all leading two, and then those two are leading three are leading four. But when it comes to flat organization structure, the span of control is not narrow, there's broad span of control, right? Talking about the tall organizational structure. If you have notes, you can like jot them down, or you can also find these on internet easily. We are talking about first the benefits of tall organizational structure. There's clear chain of command. Now, what do I mean by chain of command? The tall structure, it provides a clear and defined chain of command. Who will be reporting to whom? There are no confusions. Obviously, there will be, but when we are talking about in generical terms, it's more clear. Making it now, when we have clear chain of command, defined chain of command, a definite chain of command, it makes it easier to identify who reports to whom, which is the most, again, crucial part. Why are we discussing it here? Because we are talking about communication, and that is why we are studying hierarchical structures, because they are characterized by what kind of communication do you want, what will be the reporting structure. So this can lead to a more orderly flow of information and decision making. For example, I know that I have to report to my boss. If I am done doing something, it will be easier to, like, for example, if I don't know who am I supposed to report, then anyone can give me any task to do, and I'll be reporting to anyone. So it will be a more haphazard type of a situation there, because there won't be any definite structure. Then second thing is that specialization. With more levels, employees can specialize in their roles, leading to expertise and efficiency in their areas of responsibility. Here we define the areas, here we define the departments, here we define the position, the roles. If I am working as an associate consultant, then I will be doing the tasks that are defined for me. I won't be doing everything. But those organizations where they do not define where they do not have a lot of hierarchical levels, then there is no definite reporting system. Anyone can ask anyone to do anything, and there you would be doing multiple things. You won't be focusing, or you won't be doing the specialized tasks only. There's more control. Senior management has a high degree of control over operations and decision making. CEO or the executive level would be involved in the decision making, which can be essential for certain industries or during times of rapid change. Then we have career advancement. There are more, because there are more levels often involved. That means that there would be more opportunities for career advancement as employees can move up through the ranks. Now, what is important when we apply for a job? What are the progression opportunities in the company? How often can they progress? How often what are the opportunities for career advancement? How often can they move up through the ranks? Does it take years and years, or can we make it in 1.5 year or 2 years or a year? How much is that in addition to job security? These are the two important factors. There is close supervision here. Closer supervision can lead to better monitoring and evaluation of employee system, because you know that your supervisor will be monitoring is monitoring your um is monitoring his or her, or whoever is working under him activities, and he is answerable on your behalf, and he will be asking you for your performance at the end of the day. So these are a few
Mm.
benefits that we discussed. There is more control, there is more definite structure, there are more career advancement opportunities, there is more, you work in a specialized environment, and there's clear chain of command. But when it comes to disadvantages, so we have communication delays, because it's again a tall structure. So if, for example, something happened in the basic level, then it will move that way. It will go from, for example, the bottom level is 10, so 10, from 10 to 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that problem, whatever that
Exactly.
problem raised at the bottom level, it will take an eternity to reach to the top level. So
Yeah.
the many levels of hierarchy can slow down the communication, making it less responsive to changes and challenges. It would take like
Mm.
a lot of time. Then there is bureaucracy. Now, toll structures tend to be more bureaucratic, with more paperwork, processes, and formalities, which can hinder innovation and agility. Right? For example, they need to take a step, and it comes from the middle level management. For example, level number 4 or 5. So that would need a lot of paperwork, a lot of documentation for an idea to get approved. That is what they are talking about. There would be a lot of paperwork. This would also lead to like expansion in time,
Delayed.
delays in time. Exactly. This would lead to
Mm.
delays in time, which means that it would hinder agility, it would hinder innovation, it would hinder creativity.
Yeah.
It is more costly. Maintaining numerous management positions can be costly in terms of salaries and administrative expenses, as in there is stationery, there would be computers or systems used, electricity would be used, a lot of things would be in use. When you work in an office space, you are using their space, right? So those will be the
Yes.
administrative expenses in addition to the salaries and all. Then decision making bottlenecks. Decision making can get bogged down, as decisions often need approval from multiple levels, leading to bottlenecks. As I said earlier, approvals, a lot of approvals will be needed. For example, when we work in a government organization, I don't know how it works abroad, but here, you need to take 1,000 approvals for one thing to even get to. For example, if I have an idea and it needs to be approved by the government official,
The
or
department head.
exactly department head, then I need to at least I need to get an appointment letter also assigned by someone who is working for that department head. Not just the idea, but other, the appointment letters, or the time, or what will I be doing, the fulfilling of
Yeah.
documents and other processes as well, in order to just meet that department head or whatever. Then there's limited autonomy. Limited autonomy, you do not have a lot of control. Employees in lower levels may have limited autonomy and may feel micromanaged, which can lead to decreased job satisfaction. Now we do know that there's a more definite structure, defined structure, lesser conflicts, lesser confusion. But at the same time, it kind of promotes micromanagement, which leads to decreased job satisfaction, because when you know that everyone, all the time you have someone over your head who's asking you, what are you doing, or how is your performance, and what have you done
Yeah.
so far, it kind of puts.
Everyone should go dig into your plate.
Exactly. Then there's slow adaptation. a slow adaptation. Why? Because again, when there's a definite structure, is a slowed adaptation. It kind of like delays the process of adaptation. You do not adopt. There is the all organizations or definite organizations where structures or procedures are in place. They take eternities to adopt something or to get used to changes or to respond to changes. They are not agile, right? So I've already said here, in tall structures, they are complex in a way that they are already defined. You know who you are supposed to report to whom. If something comes up, you still have to follow that report system. You cannot directly jump onto the CEO or someone else who is relevant.
Yes.
You have to tell the person you are supposed to report to. Now again, the suitability of a tall organization depends on factors like the organization size, how big is the organization, what is the industry, the culture, and strategic objectives. We did talk about the downside of this, but it does not really mean that it's not a suitable structure. So moving onwards, let's talk about the horizontal structure or flat structure. Um, Now again, you can say that the benefits of a tall organization are could be the disadvantages of flat structure and vice versa. So let's talk about the benefits of flat organization. As I said earlier, flat organization structure is characterized by a few hierarchical levels. There are not so many levels involved. There's a wide span of control and has both benefits and disadvantages. We're gonna be talking about the benefits first. Now, there in tall organization structure, we did tell you that there is a and delay in decision making. There is not quick decision making, but here we have quick decision making because less levels are involved. With fewer levels of management, decisions can be made more quickly, enabling the organization to respond rapidly to changes and opportunities. If something comes up, they can easily they are agile and they will be responsive to the changes in an efficient way or more efficiently than as compared to the tall organizational structure. There is open communication because again, there are not too many levels involved. And if you can see here in the example on your screen, on the bottom level has so many employees involved. That means there is not one person is overseeing two people, but so many people are multiple people are seeing multiple people, overlooking at the performance of multiple people. So a flat structure often promotes open and direct communication among employees and between employees and leaders. This can enhance transparency and collaboration. Then we have cost efficiency because again, there are fewer management positions, which results in lower labor cost and reduced administrative overhead, potentially leading to cost saving. Now, for example, if I say we do have in tall organization, we have so many, levels involved, but in a flat organization, we do not have so many involved levels. But taking example where I say that in both systems, for example, I have two organizations, one is following the tall, one is following the flat organization system, but both have 100 employees. How is the flat one cheaper than the tall organization structure? Can you guess?
Pardon? Sorry, it's so fast. What?
Okay, I was saying.
How? What?
I was saying that for instance, we have two organizational. We have I have two organizations. One is characterized by tall structure organization, and the other one is characterized by flat organizational structure, right?
Yes.
So the tall one, both have 100 employees. How can I say that the flat organization is less costly than the tall organization structure when both have the same number of employees? So one has more levels involved, but the other one do not have so many levels involved. Can you figure out?
More. Both of it 100 employees.
Yeah, both have 100 employees. How can I say we did study that flat organization structure is less so costly, right? Than the tall organization structure because it has like more levels. Because I already answered your question. It has more levels involved, right? By levels.
It's a flat management.
Say what?
As you said, tall organizations is expensive.
Yeah.
Right? to run is a high wage cost.
Yeah, exactly.
But flat organization, it's a flat one, so doesn't have much more expensive. They're flat management, so I think there's
Why am
no
I saying
leveling
this?
effect.
No, wait. I think you haven't understood my question. I was saying
I think
you did. I have
pardon?
two organization. No, I'm just like reiterating
Yes.
my question. I have two
Mm,
organizations. One is following the flat organization structure, other has a tall
mm,
organizational structure. Both have 100
mhm.
employees. How can I say that one flat organization structure, the one with the flat organization structure, is cheaper? Is running on, has less administrative costs, has less costs overall, has less expenses. Because we just studied that the difference between the both of them is one of the differences between the both of them is that whole organization
The
structure
height
has,
expensive.
yeah, it's expensive. It's
Yeah.
compared to the flat. Now, why I was saying this, because as I mentioned, that the answer was in itself, the tall organization structure has more levels in it. And flat organization structure does not have too many levels. For example, on the bottom level, I am paying my labor or the frontline managers 30,000 rupees each, right? And here in the tall
So
organization, the bottom level is getting, for example, 20,000. So moving up, the CEO of the flat organization structure may be taking
become higher
one,
and higher.
exactly 1 lakh. But when it comes to tall organizational level, there are so many levels involved, and with every level, when you get promotion, you do get a raise in your
Ladderized salary
salary,
range.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
in the salary and in the other benefits also, which contribute to the administrative or other expenses also. For example, if someone who is promoted in tall organization from frontline manager, from being a frontline manager to the middle line manager, so depending upon the benefits that he or she is getting, for example, he or she is getting a free fuel, so that would also be an expense on the part of the company, right?
Added to expenses. Yeah, added to
Exactly.
expenses.
Exactly. So that's
Not
how
not
they're
only
both.
for the salary, including the benefits, the needs, the add-on.
Exactly. Then when comes to onto the next benefit, which is empowerment, employees in a flat organization often have more autonomy and responsibility, which can boost motivation and job satisfaction because they have more autonomy of working. They can use their creativity to the best of their capability. And then there is more flexibility. They are well suited to dynamic environments and industries that require adaptability and innovation. They're more flexible, they're
Mm.
more agile. Then we have faster feedback loop because there are less levels involved. Direct communication lines between leaders and employees facilitate quicker feedback, which helps in performance betterment or improvement. Now, when it comes to downside, we have a few limitations also. There's limited career advancement because there's flat organizational structure. So
Yes.
you're gonna take an eternity to move up.
Mm.
There may be fewer opportunities for vertical career advancement within the organization
Yeah. Yeah.
because there are less levels or hierarchical levels involved. There is overwhelming responsibility because in tall organization level, you are supposed to be dealing with a few things. But in flat organization structure, where is no definite structure, where there is no definite
Good.
structure or outline of what you are supposed to do, it comes with a lot of responsibility. Employees in flat organizations may experience high levels of responsibility and workload, leading to stress or burnout. For example, you may be asked to print also, you may be asked to do other administrative tasks as well in addition to doing your own
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities and duties. Then there is lack of specialization because in a flat structure, employees may need to wear multiple hats, which means that they may be asked to do multiple tasks, which are totally different, which could lead to a lack
Yeah.
of specialization, expertise, in specific roles. Then there is risk of inequity without clear hierarchical structure. There's a risk of inequity in decision making and resource allocation. There is loss of control. Leaders may have less direct control or an oversight, which can be challenging in industries where strict regulation and compliance is essential. There is less control. Then limited training and development,
Mm.
fewer management positions can mean fewer opportunities for leadership development and monitoring. So this is again something which comes with both ups and downs. There are, but again, for whatever the organization is doing, they can reduce the what do we say, the disadvantages, and can use them to the best of their ability, and can turn the tables by reacting in a way which is profitable for the company and for the employees as well. So moving onwards, we have finally. So now we have a metrics organizational structure. So it's a structure, it's a complex system where employees have dual reporting relationships. As you can see on your screen, typically both functional and project based. This structure has both benefits and disadvantages that we're gonna be studying ahead. But by dual reporting relationship, I mean the functional manager is supposed to executive is giving orders to functional manager, and functional manager is also supposed to collaborate or report to project team as well, right? You can see two
I
arrows,
think,
not one. In the
yeah, the
in the
project
above scenarios, you can see that only here
going
we
down.
have exactly going down. There are no dual relationships. No one employee is
Yeah.
reporting to or collaborating with two other persons. But
So,
here you can see
yeah.
there's a multiple relationship, the dual relationship. So here also you see this is an example of matrix. So let's talk about the benefits. It has enhanced specialization. Employees can develop expertise in their functional areas while also gaining experience working on various projects because you're working on different things. If you're hired as a
But
project manager, then you will also be working on other projects as well or other teams as well, which is gonna expand your experience as well. You will gain more experience of working with different projects with different people in different departments. There's optimal resource allocation. Optimal means that one person is responsible. Since one person is responsible for working on different things, then there is optimal resource allocation. No man hours go to waste, and you wouldn't have to hire too many people. Resources, including personnel and skills, can be efficiently allocated across projects, maximizing productivity and utilization. There is flexibility and adaptability. Now, matrix structures, they excel in dynamic environments. Dynamic means fast-moving environments where they allow organizations to quickly adapt to changes in projects, priorities, and market conditions. For example, we have different project managers in one and working in an organization. So whatever the project comes, they will be allocated different projects. One manager maybe what do we say? He may be a chief principal working as a chief engineer, but at the same time he'll be handling multiple projects as well.
yeah, the multitask.
Exactly. Then we have cross-functional collaboration. As I said, and as you can see here, there is multiple collaboration. They are collaborating with different people. This structure encourages collaboration, knowledge sharing among different functional areas, fostering information and problem solving. There's customer focus. The metric structure can enhance customer responsiveness and satisfaction. There is career development also. Now, talking about the disadvantages, there's conflict and power struggles, because obviously you know that if your performance can lead you to gain a better position in an organization, then people do that. So dual reporting can lead to conflicts and power struggles, especially if there's ambiguity about roles and responsibilities. Complexity, there is complexity because again there are dual relationships. Metrics organizations can be administratively complex and require careful coordination to avoid confusion and inefficiencies. Why there is complexity, why there would be more power struggles, because when you are doing multiple things, and when there is no level involved, and when you have to make decisions while in collaboration with other people, then complexities arise, then power conflicts arise. Slow decision making may become slow and convoluted, as it often involves multiple stakeholders and requires consensus. When you need to ask people for their validation, it does take a lot of time, and it does give rise to so many things. And there's increased overhead. The need for additional coordination and management layers can increase administrative overheads and costs. For example, here you can see functional managers supposed to collaborate with the executive and the project team also. So it would take a lot of time. There is increased overhead. There are communication challenges. There would be leadership burden because you are collaborating with so many people. You would be overlooking different teams. Then onwards, regional structure. Yeah, this is regional structure, although it's not mentioned here, but this is regional. And in regional structure,
Regional
Okay,
structure
so
organization.
yeah, you see here we studied
Like
there
independent
is
body,
regional organizational
regional.
structure. Yeah, so this one is regional where you see there's CEO, then we have a vice president, a northern region, eastern region, western, southern, and Asian pack. And then they're also overlooking different teams, production, sales, marketing, after sales, and also et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, a regional organizational structure divides an organization into regions or geographic areas, as we see here. Or, for example, in anywhere we can, what do we say? For example, there are international brands. For example, we say Pepsi. So Pepsi has a team which is
Yeah.
working in Pakistan, which is working in like
Mm-mm.
America also. So they're working differently. The sales team is different. The marketing tactics that they use are according to the region they are in. For example, if Pakistan
Yeah.
they are promoting something, so they would definitely be deploying the Urdu language or whatever new trends are rising in Pakistan. For example, recently there was rap immediately took a race to heights in Pakistan. So every brand it kind of used such tactics where they would use rap in order to get their message across and in order to create um and in order to create like good ads. For example, Pepsi had long rap songs where they would be promoting themselves at and that kind of like uh that got famous also. So this is the concept of region, with each region having a degree of autonomy and responsibility for its operations. As I said, there would be they would be different. The marketing teams would be different. The strategies would be different. The sales strategies would be different. The prices would also be different. This structure has both again benefits and responsibilities. So, did you get understand the concept of regional structure?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Why again we divide? Why do we not have one central position, one central we do have like headquarters or one main what do we say, branch also, but this is divided. Even in Pakistan, if we not talk about the
Geographical.
geography, even if we do not talk about globally, but even if I talk about just Pakistan, that even in Pakistan, if I talk about, there are four provinces, or even wherever you are, and you're in Saudi, so I am not really sure about how many provinces the Saudi has,
And
but
yeah, in
or
Saudi
how,
Arabia, we also have some companies, they also have it like
yeah. So
it's
the marketing or the sales or the production strategies for every region would be
mm-mm.
different also. Here we have a
Yeah.
Pashtun culture, here we have Sindh, so they are different for every culture according to their language, culture, etc., things. So yeah,
Yeah, for even our companies, we have this one.
exactly. So
We have the regional base for them. It's easily they can make decisions. They can strategize, depend on the environment.
exactly, depending on the environment also. Then we have local market. Now the benefits, there are local market expertise. Why do we divide again? Because the people, if the regional team would know better about the market, they would know, they would have like they would have deep and updated insights of how the market is working there in a certain region.
Mm.
Regional managers often have a deep understanding of local markets, as I said, customers and cultural nuances, allowing for tailored strategies and better customer relationships. Now, there would be also quick response to local needs. And regional structures, they can respond rapidly to regional changes or local changes, opportunities, challenges. Um, However, without waiting for centralized decision making, you don't have for the central branch or the headquarters to make or to disseminate a decision, and then they have to wait for you, the regional offices, to get that decision and to implement that. No. So usually, what happens
Right.
is big giants like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, they may launch, even their launches are according to the region. They would
Mm.
launch something which may have alcohol or etc, stuff like that in America, but they cannot do it where it's alcohol is banned. Similar for
Yes.
McDonald's, KFC, that are globally operating. We have different McDonald's menu in India than what we have in China or than what we have in Pakistan or McDonald's. And that you can also see in on like internet as well, how the YouTubers, they when they go to different regions and they try and test out different menus, different meals, and they tell how the taste is different, though they try to keep the taste kind of like similar to all the regions, but they have different meanings according to the region. All right, then we have efficient resource allocation. Resources, including personnel and inventory, can be allocated more efficiently based on regional demand. If you don't need a lot of people, then you can transfer those people to other branches where they're more needed.
Mm.
There is customization. The again, as I said, they are the managers who are working, or the regional managers. They have deep insights on the local markets, so the ability to adapt products, services, and marketing to regional preferences can enhance competitiveness and customer satisfaction. There is effective communication. There is talent development. Say what?
No. To certify.
Regional structures provide opportunities for leadership and talent development at various levels within the organization. Coming on to the disadvantages, there's coordination challenges because balancing regional autonomy, balancing regional power with centralized control can be challenging, leading to control of the difficulties and conflicts. Obviously, you have to get it approved by the central offices as well. Then there's duplication efforts because the central office may have worked on something that the regional office wouldn't know, and they would be working on that again, wasting time, resources, etc. So regional structures may result in duplication of functions such as administration, finance, marketing, which increase costs. If the central offices, it can do that, has the resources to do that, then regional offices having different multiple departments of finance, marketing, administration can only increase the cost. There's lack of standardization because differences in regional practices can lead to inconsistent customer experiences and operational efficiencies. There's loss of economies of scale because regional structures may not fully leverage economies of scale or centralized resources, potentially increasing costs. Because when you are producing, keeping in mind your region, for example, there's a certain region which do not like too much sugar in their drinks or beverages or their food, or they do not like too much oil in their food, which is more healthy. For example, if we talk about China or certain regions of China or whatever, according to the taste of the local people, if you go by the rules of the local people, then you do lose on economies of scale. What is economies of scale? Economies of scale is when you produce more on lower cost. Because have you ever heard that when we purchase something in bulk or produce something in bulk, it leads to economies of scale. It means we invest less cost, or less cost is incurred when we produce more, or when we produce in bulk, or when we buy in bulk. So there is less expenses are incurred at that time. So here it also means that when we are going regional, then economies of scale is lost and higher costs are incurred. There's complexity. Managing multiple regional structures can be complex for the obviously central region, central branch, or etc., requiring effective leadership and communication at both regional and centralized levels. So this was metric structure. You can, again, this is not something which I am only telling you. I have talked about multiple things. You may be learning different things or reading different things on internet. So what you will be doing is, even if you're preparing for the assignments or for your exam, or even if you want to just go through the lecture, you can just go type on internet that what is metric structure, what are the benefits, what are the disadvantages, and then read from that. We also have multiple or gazillion YouTube videos on this as well, on this topic as well. Even if it does not make sense to you later because there's not too much in the slides, and you can also ask me, reach out to me. You can ask via the coordinator. You can forward your queries to her, and then I'll be answering those. Okay. Now, this is the remote structure, if I'm not wrong. Remote offices, yes. So remote offices, as you see, there's dotted line. One is reported to someone else, and remote teams means you're not working exactly in one building. You may be working from your home, from the comforts of your home, or from different geographical locations, depending upon what is the criteria that your company is following. And I don't think we have to go into details, because here, if we talk about benefits, there are no administrative. If we go remote, if we talk about remote working, there is no administrative there are no administrative tasks involved. For example, when I go to an office, I do see a printer there, I do see a scanner there, we do have computers there, we do use the furniture, we use the electricity, etc. All of these costs are saved when you're working from home, right? So there's less cost involved. But when we talk about communication, I think the biggest drawback would be communication here, right? Can you think of other advantages or disadvantages?
Saving for the remotely, of
Yes.
course, saving with the expenses. That's one of the reason why even us
Yeah.
we're saving expenses and we can do the outsourcing.
Yes. 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 Mostly this is what they do. Anyways, there's more. If we talk about benefits, there is more flexibility of working.
A
You can work
lot.
from home, right? This is one of the best
Yes.
things that remote working, flexible timing. You don't
How
have to
I
be
wish.
okay. Everyone would. Then there is access to global talent for the employers is a big benefit that you can have your hand in the best talent available. You don't have to seriously just sacrifice um on your personal and on the demand relating to the person that the type of person that you want to hire. Then there is cost saving. We've
Yeah.
discussed it earlier. And there is increased productivity. That's because some employees may find remote work more conducive to productivity. And I just heard a complaint. How you said, "Oh, I wish." So I think you're one of those who also find remote work conducive. And honestly, it all depends on your conditions, on what type of conditions are you in. Do you have a lot of time to spend? Then okay, then going to office would be more appropriate for you. But if you do not have a lot of time and you have other duties as well in life that get we get burdened or overwhelmed with duties as we move forward in life or as we age, so we get tons of those
Mm.
responsibilities and we do not really be the cool bachelors that we used to be in our study time, in our university time or college time. So life throws so many responsibilities onto you that over time you do wish that, okay, I wish I was working remotely. So yeah. Then there's um reduced commute. It
At
saves
least
you
I
from
can do
the
vacation while working.
Exactly. It saves you for the cost of commuting from one year or from one place to another, from going to your office. And there is business continuity, remote work, whatever happens, you do not have to
Yeah.
shut your operations. And this we learned in the COVID, especially after COVID, that when we were working in real time environments and offices, then we had to shut down because of COVID, because it was something which was a contagious disease. We could not touch each other. We could
Mm-mm.
not just stand one another, someone who had COVID. So we had to shut down every business. But then things changed to
Yeah.
on things came to online now. Anything except for 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 the doomsday can nothing can
It
stop.
gives a lot of opportunity for those who have talent that are staying at home.
Exactly, exactly. So now even if disaster comes up, we can still work from the um comforts of our houses. Okay. Then we have disadvantages. There are communication challenges. Remote work can lead to
Yeah.
communication difficulties. There is supervision accountability because managing remote teams may require more effort to ensure employees remain accountable. It takes more time to explain to employees what are they supposed to do than it takes in person. There are security risks because remote work can pose security risks, especially when handling sensitive data. Then there is lack of
Mm-mm.
collaboration because